What's up, Wolfpack? This is Michael, aka Wolf Mantula, and welcome back to the Never Ending Voice podcast. I really wanted to bring a few more eyes to some series that I really like that are self-published. So that's what I'm going to be doing today: is 5 self-published series that I think more people should take a look at. The first one that I'm going to talk about is this beautiful series right here, Paternus by Dyrk Ashton. So this is a urban fantasy, somewhat YA type of series, but I really do think that people that jump into this, that they'll end up really loving this, because the main character is just so much fun to love. Then you have the fact that Dyrk Ashton made this mythology based on the entire world, essentially. It's all these gods and deities from different religions around the world. They're all actually just this few people, and they're known around the world as different names, but it's just these few. And I really thought that that was cool to kind of bring all that together under one basic umbrella. And so it makes for an incredible, just exciting series where just things are constantly happening. Revelations where you're like, oh my God! Like, I haven't read this series in, I don't know, like 3 years. Like, I mean, this is the Kickstarter set that I got right here. That the first book was already out when this Kickstarter happened, but I was able to, when I backed the second one, I was able to go ahead and get the first one, and then you did the third one, and then you got this beautiful case to go with it, protection case, which is, I mean, it's amazing. I love it. But it's an incredible trilogy that I think a lot of people should give a shot. It was a finalist in the SPFBO. I can't tell you the actual which one it was, but it was an earlier one. It might be SPFBO 3. For those that don't know what that is a self-published fantasy blog off where self-published authors, they put their book out and it goes into 1 of 10 blogger groups, and they read it, and it goes through semifinals, it goes to the finals, and then of each group's finalists, they all read the 10 finalists, and then you all end up picking a winner. So that's essentially what that is, and it's a great way to get self-published authors out there, get their name out there, get a little bit more recognition than they originally would just by publishing or just being on Twitter and doing other things. So I would highly recommend people give this a shot if you want something that's just like, it's serious but it's fun, and I love it. And I'm seriously going to be doing a reread of it, because I did this series before I was a blogger. So the review that I have on it is not very good. Like, it's maybe a paragraph. I can't remember, but I know it wasn't good. So I plan on going back and redoing that, because this trilogy, it deserves more eyes, and it deserves a better review than what I left. The next book that I'm going to talk about, or the next series, sorry, I only have one book, one physical book of it, though I've read the entire trilogy. I've only purchased one book. I plan on doing the rest. If he ends up doing a Kickstarter with this, then I'm probably going to wait and just do this. But that is Mortal Techniques by Rob J. Hayes. The Mortal Techniques, to me, is, man, it's the third series that I want to talk about is a trilogy. And this one came with a, make sure I'm not going to give anything away with this, incredible Kickstarter that just happened recently, and had all the books sent out. You know, it's officially done and closed. But a lot of people have compared the magic system to Brandon Sanderson. So with that being said, this trilogy it's an amazing trilogy, and that is Threadlight. That is by Zack Argyle, and let me put these in actual order here. But you have Voice of War, Stones of Light, and Bonds of Chaos. This trilogy right here is fantastic. I think it's highly, highly, highly one of the best self-published series there is. And I would highly recommend everyone read this. No, it's not very big. Like you can tell, this is the trilogy right there that in this omnibus right here. So they're not large books, but man, each one is just fantastic and just makes you want to continue reading each page over and over and over again. Like that's how good these are. I don't want to give too much off about this, but I really just want to say you have to read this. If you love fantasy, you love that epic high fantasy style, you have to read this. It is amazing and it will blow your mind. It's fantastic. This is the final book, The Spirits of Vengeance. You have Never Die, and you have Pawn's Gambit. And then you have a short story, Century Blade, which is also fantastic. But this, to me, when I first read the first book, the first book is a little bit different from the rest of them, but the first book had a little bit of that fighter video game style to it, and it's kind of like, there was a lot of action in it because of that. But I'll say this, Rob, I saved so many quotes because of everything that Rob put in his books. Like they were just great quotes to just keep and just live. Really just live by. Like they were fantastic quotes. So I would highly recommend people giving this series a shot because there is a fourth book coming soon. He does have the God Eater saga that he's working on. I don't know. I know it's going to happen at least in maybe 2025. We'll see. If it happens later on, it happens later on. But I'm excited to jump anytime I can to jump into this world. I'm excited to do it. So I'm excited for that, and I think a lot of people would love this if they gave it a shot. The next series that I want to talk about, again, I don't have all the books of it. I only have 3 of the 4 that's currently out, and a 5th one is coming out soon. This author I read his book, and then we ended up chatting a lot. I'm just going to say this, like, his writing is very Steven Erikson style. Like, it's very articulate. There's so much to it. Like, I consider this world, which I guess I can show you the books. It's P.L. Stewart's Drowned Kingdom saga. You got Drowned Kingdom, then you have Lord and King, and then you have The Last Atlanteans. And then the 4th book, Alliance Pride. I don't have the physical copy of it. I will be getting it, but I just don't have it yet. So PL, it's okay. I am going to get it. But, this is, to me, if you like Joe Abercrombie, this is more of that type of low fantasy world. Like, Joe Abercrombie is a little bit darker when it comes to what he does, but this world is... It's similar in the fact that it's low fantasy, but you have the magical is more angelic. Is the best way I could spiritual is the best way I could say that. So you're not really going to have elemental. There's a little bit of elemental magic, but you're not going to have a lot of magic in this series, and you'll notice that. But you feel every emotion that the characters are going through, especially the main character. Like, you feel every single emotion. You know every detail about what they're doing and where they're going. Like, imagine Gladiator and you're Marcus Aurelius and you're in that final scene where you're walking through the cornfield and or not the cornfield, but the wheat field, and you're dragging your hands. Like that to me is what it feels like. Like you can just like you're not physically there, but you are mentally there. He puts you there. That's something that PL does tremendously. Like his world building, man, it's like I've never read Steven Erikson, so I can't say that it's as close to him, but I know what people say about Steven Erikson and how he does and how he writes. So that's why I would say he's close to that. But with that being said, like I'm just saying, like this saga, it's going to be a 7-book saga. It is amazing, and book 5 is going to be coming out pretty soon. I'll be getting the advanced reader copy probably next month. Sometime next month. I know it's supposed to be in the fall. The book won't come out until 2025, but it's going to be a big book, so it may take me a little bit to get through, especially with just how detailed and articulate PL is. Like it's amazing, and I love it. I love reading this series. I do wish that the audio was throughout the entire series. You do have audio on just book 1. But he has said that after he's finished, he plans to get audio for the rest of the series. So I'm excited to read back over this series later on with full audio, because I know I'm going to enjoy it just as much as I did the first time around with the other. Now I did the first book with Kindle Whispersync, but the rest of them have been physical reads or reads on an ebook. But I am excited to get back into the world again with the art coming, and later on once all the audio books are out. Like I'm excited to jump back in and see how the narrator is able to put everything into the world. Like it'll be great. The final series that I'm going to talk about is a series that it's very popular now. When I first got to it, it was building. So it's not underrated because it's, like I said, it's very popular. But that's this series right here, which is The Bound and the Broken. So this series right here is the only one that I would put above P.L. Stewart's. And that's not a bad thing. Like I absolutely love this series, and everyone I know that reads it loves this series. I have rarely found a person that has tried to start this and went, no, that's not my style. So I know that people get into this. One thing that I will say is my favorite character doesn't come into play until later on in the series. I believe a lot of people have the same kind of feeling, but one thing that I do love is the way that Ryan is able to, I guess I can kind of move that more, make that a little more centered, right? Yeah. Let's move that over some. But what I like about Ryan and what he can do with his characters is he plants early on and then brings the characters to life later. So there may be a random name drop in book 1 or in the fall in the first prequel. There might just be a random name of a person, and then you read the rest of the book, you never read it again. And then book 1, you never hear from them. And then by the time book 3 comes around, boom, there's that person. So I love that Ryan plants the seeds early on in a lot of this, and it builds and it comes to fruition later on. So that's one of the best things, especially when you can pinpoint those situations. Like I'm very, I take a lot of notes when I read stuff, especially like book 1. So I do a lot of writing names down that are, oh, who was that? Okay. So then I find out that, oh, if they have a name, they might be someone important. So that has come into play. The other thing that I like is Ryan and I got really became really good friends because of this series, and it was because of our love of Greek mythology and Greek history. So there is a lot of that in this, and you see some of that Greco-Roman history within book one immediately. So there's there's a particular scene before a lot of stuff happens that is a very Greco-Roman Trojan type of thing, or maybe not a Trojan thing, but a Spartan type of thing. And then later on, there's another Spartan type of thing in another book, book two. That one I saw, I messaged him, I was like, hey man, is that what this is? And exactly. So I thought it was really cool. And I'll throw a little hint in there, because maybe you can find it, maybe you won't. But the Battle of the Hot Gates, yeah, that's in book two. If you find it, let me know, because I think it'd be cool that if you know about it and I know about it, that we can talk about it. And but one of my favorite scenes so far, because who knows what he's going to do with the next book. He may put something there that makes that scene even cooler. There's a scene in book three here that just blew me away. And it's there's a T word that I know Ryan is not a fan of, so I'm not going to say the T word. I'm just going to call it a T word. But there's a thing, and it's a scene that you see in a lot, and not a lot of movies, but Michael Bay movies and stuff and things like that, with explosions or those anticlimactic scenes where something is happening and the guy just stands there. Like you see something just barreling towards them and they just stand there proud. There's a scene like that, and it just blew me away when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah! Yeah, that's going to be a meme. But no, I would highly suggest people reading this, because like it looks like a lot of work, but man, once you get going, there's something about this series that just grabs you and just doesn't want to let you go. Like you are going to get that Lord of the Rings Aragon type of vibe when you read that first book, but Aragon is not where he got inspired from. It is Temeraire by Naomi Novik. So that is his actual inspiration for the Dragon Rider type thing, not Aragon. But I understand where people come from, because I came from the same way with Aragon until I heard him in an interview with Fanfi Addict, with David Walters of Fanfi Addict, talking about his inspiration for this, like John Gwynne and a lot of other people. But when it came down to inspiration for like the whole dragon riding thing, it was Temeraire. It wasn't Aragon. So that was one of the things that I've been trying to like help people out with, is let them know, hey, I understand the Aragon thing. We all get it. It's what most of us know, but it's actually Temeraire by Naomi Novik. These are the 5 series. You have a Blood and Fire. The Bound and the Broken. You have the Drowned Kingdom. You have Threadlight. You have Mortal Techniques. And then you have Paternus Trilogy by Dyrk Ashton. I would highly recommend you all giving all these a shot. And as always,